I think it was Brad. Brad, you said something about the structure of government matters, and to a point that Tom made regarding trying to attract more companies that have a presence in biotechnology or pharmaceuticals. My question is, with the current national healthcare reform bill that's being debated in Congress, do you see that being one of the major threats of trying to attract biotechnology companies here in Cleveland? And one of the reasons why I say that is because one of the issues being debated is whether Congress should place either a tax or to allow more generic competition on biological drugs. And in addition to that, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think someone who works in the biotechnology field, I would challenge you all to actually think of something big, because I think that for a city like Cleveland, our area, we have the infrastructure. I would really love to see one of the major pharmaceutical companies or even major biotech companies move here to Cleveland, because I think we need it the most.
Well, you want to take that one?
Tom, I think that's your challenge.
I'll weigh in. I can't imagine how any of us can digest what's in a 2,000-plus page bill and really understand what's in there. But it's beyond human capacity. But the things in there that seem to be creating greater control and financial burden on innovation in medical technology, biomedical technology, is a concern. And it should be a concern to this region because it is part of our growth engine. And I do have some concerns that legislation will hurt that in some way. But again, it's an extraordinarily complex structure they're trying to put in place. With regard to bringing something here, let's all acknowledge, it's all out just yesterday, today, what looks like a big breakthrough on the medical mart. That's a tremendous, it looks like a tremendous step forward. That will be a lot to be done between here and getting it up and running. But it will be an icon, a statement that there's something special here in this field. And in Team NEO, as we attract businesses, you want to try to stand out from the crowd. It's very difficult because there's so many good communities with so many good things. This is something that will help us stand out. I don't, frankly, see us long-term being a big place for pharmaceuticals. We don't have as much of the infrastructure for that. We're more of a device region than we are a pharmaceutical region. But I think as we've had a lot of successes. My team has led something like 10 biomedical company attractions over the last 3 years. So it can be done, and we're going to do a lot more of them.
And the only piece I would add to that, and you didn't specifically say this, but one might infer it from your question, and it's this idea of should we be out elephant hunting versus really working on the system by which we build a diversified economy that can sustain us over the next 30 or 40 or 50 years. And my sense is we need to be courageous, we need to be able to think boldly, but it's not time to just wing the ball into the end zone and look for some big opportunity, or mixing my metaphors, or to grab the musket and go for the elephant. And if I work here, I can probably come up with one more analogy or metaphor.
As long as we don't shoot the butterfly.
Yeah. No, we're going to shoot the caterpillar, and we're going to feed the butterfly. But it is about building the system. And so a lot of the investments, the philanthropic grants from the fund, have been about not going for something glitzy, bold, some big thing, but rather to think about the system by which hundreds of mid-sized firms can choose to locate here and grow here and expand here across a number of industries, so that we have a strong and diversified economy as opposed to going for that big thing. And the proof will be in the pudding, but it looks like the early results suggest that we're on a good trajectory.
The big things that we've had and still have did not come because they came here big. They were big because they were very successful here. And so we want to keep placing more and more bets. Get more and more smart people doing smart things, and some of them will turn into the next generation of the big things. And that's the way you do this. And it's one of the main things we lost sight of when we became so big in a number of things. We lost sight of the fact that they all started small. And we thought we got used to the idea that everything here had to be big. Well, it isn't. And a mixture of companies in that along the spectrum is really what makes a healthy economy. And we work across that whole spectrum, but we love big deals. But frankly, most of our deals are, 50 people, 100 people. But those companies turn into 500 people companies in a few years.
The strategies that you've seen elsewhere in the country
Yeah.
with venture capital and the
For
investments
sure.
in these small firms.
For sure.
Hi, I wanted to go back for a moment to county reform because I think we all agree that it's so important for this region and we don't want us to miss this very important opportunity. How are we going to find the people that we think are have the best experience to run for office? Because I think they're going to be seasoned executives and not seasoned politicians. And then how do we convince them to run?
April, that is a great question, and I just wanted to say that is our last question, and I'm sure.
I think it was directed to you.
No, I think it was directed. Thank you, Brad. Why don't you start?
I love that question. And I have to say why I love that question, because it gets at the question of, well, what is it that we're trying to accomplish? And what individuals or collection of individuals can help us do that? And what will be a pity is if this devolves into which group has power, which group doesn't have power, which can throw it around, and so forth. And the risk is we might get to names too quickly, as opposed to what it is we want to accomplish through this, what outcomes do we want to achieve, and then what individuals are set to do that. And what I hope doesn't happen is kind of names get kind of dropped in, and then it becomes a power struggle as opposed to a discussion of ideas that involves different groups of citizens around this thing. And so to me, let's get some of that out there earlier, and then really have good debates about the what as opposed to the who.
I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. And today at the City Club of Cleveland, we have been listening to a Friday Forum featuring Brad Whitehead, Tom Waltermire, and Susan Goldberg. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This forum is now adjourned.
For information on upcoming speakers or for podcasts of the City Club, go to cityclub.org.